Hannah, the prayer that shook heaven. There are prayers, and then there are prayers that break the silence of heaven. This is the story of a woman whose cry was so deep, so raw, so sincere, that God Himself answered in a way that changed a nation forever. This is Hannah, the woman whose prayer shook heaven. Hannah lived with a pain. She never chose the pain of waiting. Year after year, she carried the weight of unanswered prayers. She wanted a child, but her womb remained silent. To make it worse, the other wife in the home, Peninnah, mocked her, reminding Hannah of what she didn't have, what she couldn't give. And yet, Hannah didn't fight back. She didn't curse God. She didn't walk away from her faith. She held on. Quietly. Faithfully. Painfully. One day, Hannah couldn't hold the tears anymore. She went into the presence of God and broke. Not with fancy words, not with memorized prayers. Just tears. Tears that words couldn't explain. She whispered a vow, "Lord, if you give me a son, I will give him back to you." This wasn't a bargain, it was surrender. A mother's heart offering something she didn't even have yet. Eli the priest saw her praying silently, her lips moving but no sound coming out. He thought she was drunk. But Hannah said the most powerful line of her life. "I am pouring out my soul before the Lord." Eli looked at her and said, "Go in peace. May God grant your request." And something beautiful happened. Hannah walked away different. She wasn't pregnant yet, but the burden was gone. Faith had replaced frustration. Peace replaced panic. Hope replaced heartbreak. And then, God remembered Hannah. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and named him Samuel, meaning God has heard. Samuel would become a prophet, a leader, and the voice that guided Israel through one of its darkest seasons. All because a woman prayed a prayer that shook heaven. Her cry was so raw, so deep, so sincere. It forced heaven to respond. When Samuel was old enough, Hannah did what most mothers could never do. She took him to the temple and released him into God's hands. She gave God back the very miracle she cried for. This wasn't loss, it was purpose. And God honored her again. Hannah had more children. Sons and daughters she didn't even ask for. That's what happens when surrender meets purpose. The silent mother became the blessed mother. Samuel served the Lord faithfully, ministering before Eli. He was guided by the wisdom of the old priest. The silent cry had birthed a voice for the nation. A direct line from brokenness to blessing. His very existence was a testament to a prayer that moved heaven. Meanwhile, Peninnah's blessing brought constant demands. The gifts she received required constant effort. Hannah's surrendered gift brought divine peace. The contrast between earned blessing and surrendered blessing. Hannah gave God back the very miracle she cried for. She released him into God's hands, transforming loss into purpose. God honored that surrender with abundance. The true miracle was not the conception, but the willingness to let go. Hannah teaches us something powerful. Sometimes heaven doesn't move until your heart does. Sometimes God waits for your full surrender. And sometimes your deepest pain becomes the birthplace of your greatest miracle. Hannah's pain was the soil for Samuel. Your prayer may not have been answered yet. But like Hannah, heaven has heard you. Hold on to your faith. Wait with peace.